Hi, I'm John, and this is the Cell Max Ichiban Kuji figure. Today's video is suggested by member Lobby, and he requested to give Cell the battle damage that he suffers in the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. And while I'm at it, to clean up this paint job that Bandai gave it. Before I begin, today's video is sponsored by Gaahleri. They just launched some new products for the second quarter of 2026, including their line of Kaleido translucent colors, with 12 colors specifically formulated for clear parts like signal lights, clear canopies, and windshields, and a brand new set of primary colors, 24 fundamental colors, 12 in gloss, and 12 in matte finish, which are perfect for any surface or subject, making them the go-to choice for both beginners and professionals. I've been using their first set of primary colors in my previous videos, and super excited to try the new matte finishes today. They're also launching the new Kaleido Color Lab, where you can experiment with colors, create precise mixing formulas, and turn ideas into real results. You can even upload photos and it'll analyze either the closest matching paint color available or how to mix them. Go to gaahleri.com or on Amazon, linked in the description below, and you can save 10% on purchases by using my discount codes. Thanks to Gaahleri for sponsoring today's video, and let's get started. Let's start with the head gem that gets damaged by Gotenks in the movie. I used a hot knife to carve out the source of impact and gradually moved my way out, cutting out bits and pieces to make cracks. Once I got it to a place that I liked, I sanded it down to smooth out some of the melted bits of plastic. Moving to the forearm that gets severed by Gamma 2, I'm going to cut off some of it to match the broken arm from the movie. Utilizing the arm's peg hole, I decided to carve it out to make room for all the goopy fillings. After I hollowed it all out, I added the little cracks and divots along the edges. Then I sanded everything down to get rid of some jagged cuts. For the next step, and for a good portion of the video, this is going to be my best friend. I used this wood filler to not only fill in all the arms, but to spread it along the surface to give it that rocky, concrete look. Then I plugged the hole I made with some epoxy sculpt to make the goopy insides of his arms, and to make the little bone thingies inside, I rolled up some epoxy sculpt off screen, and once it cured, I cut it in half to give it that broken, jagged texture. Then I stuffed them into the arms, along with a couple other little leftover wires to add a little extra texture. The last bit of details I added to the arm was sculpting in some cracks along the edges with some epoxy sculpt. While we wait for the arm to cure, let's go on a wood filling journey that adds battle damage to the entire figure as accurately to the movie as I could. After everything dried, I added scuff marks along the body to add to the battle damage. Because the wood filler area on the wing was so large, I added a whole bunch of scratches along the entire area, along with some dings. I also wanted the damage to be in harmony with the original sculpt. I ended up liking the scratched area so much that I decided to add it to the entire body. And once we finished up here, it's prime time. I went pretty heavy on white primer on the battle damage since wood filler is apparently pretty porous. For the main body, I'm using Gaahhleri's new Kaleido matte colors. For the shading areas, I use a dark matte green for the green sections and a matte purple for the red sections. Then I went over them both with a blending layer of a matte red and a brighter yellow green. For the wings, I'm using a matte black as a shading layer. And for the blending layer, I'm using one of the new colors in the new primary color set, Rubber Black, which is a little bit lighter and a perfect shade for these dark sections. Finally, I used some gray on the battle damage. You can see later when it dries that this dries glossy versus the matte finish of the red, green, and black. And while this looks a little dark right now, not to worry, I'll get to it later. I decided to hand paint the purple areas in between Cell's joint and inside the broken arm. I dry brushed some white gray onto the battle damage pieces to bring out the texture. It was a real trust the process kind of thing. I was a little nervous that it wasn't looking quite right at first, but after a few coats, it finally started to look the way that I wanted it to. I also dry brushed some white on the broken head bulb just to bring the cracks out a little bit. Next, I had to paint in all the facial details. Now that we're finishing up here, the last thing to do was to paint in the spots. Phew! While painting them all in, I finally understood why Bandai painted in with a black wash. In all honesty, it did help bring out the fantastic sculpting detail by Iroquois Keiji, and helped fill in some of the dark spots, but unfortunately was done very sloppily and inconsistently. Then I added a matte clear coat to protect the paint. And all that was left to do was to put them back together. Here's the final result. Somehow I keep painting in cell spots despite not wanting to. Hopefully there aren't any cell forms I need to paint. Are there? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks to Gaahleri for sponsoring today's video. Thanks for Lobby for requesting today's video. Thanks to Rifty Beats for letting me use his music. And of course, thanks to all my members. Membership to the channel is only $2 a month, where you can help support the channel directly and get some behind the scenes looks of what I'm working on. You can find everything I use in the video linked in the description as affiliate links. If you buy anything after you click the link, it'll help support the channel without any additional cost to you. And if you like my work, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you know exactly what's coming up next. Thanks for watching. See you next time.